Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way YouTube page, X page, and Facebook page. My name is Ryan McGinley, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Tony Haggerty. Tony, it's Cup final day, Celtic versus Rangers, Glasgow Derby, Hampden 50-50 split, and the teams are out. In goals for Celtic, Kasper Schmeichel will play, a back four of Greg Taylor, Austin Trusty, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Alistair Johnston, left to right. Midfield three of Callum McGregor, Paulo Bernardo and Reo Hatate, and a front three of Kyogo Furuhashi through the middle, supported on either wing by Daizen Maeda on the left and Nicholas Kuhn on the right. The subs for today's game, now they were on the phone, but they're not. The subs today are Sinisalo, Scales, Palmer, Ida, Bailly, Yang, Engels, Forrest and Ralston. Tony, good afternoon. How are you doing? What's your thoughts on that team?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's the same team that I think you and I picked, wasn't it, for our predicted 11? Don't say this lightly, but it kind of picks itself, doesn't it? There was a couple of big calls there. Taylor at the left back position and also Bernardo or Engels in the midfield, but the manager has picked the same 11 that you and I picked. Strong team, Ryan. Go hard and going strong. Cup finals are all about winning, Ryan, and Celtic need to produce today in order to win the match.
Yeah, absolutely. They know what's in front of them. They know what's required today. They know that they have to probably put in a better performance than what they've been shown recently as well. I think they need to up their game ever so slightly, especially after that Dinamo Zagreb game on Tuesday night. Was it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday night. It's been. You know, I was, but it's been a really weird week on and off. You'll know that by the briefings I've hardly been on, etc. But back here for the final, looking forward to covering it with everything that's going to be on the website. A quick shout out to our YouTube members channel. For just £2.99 a month, you can receive early video access, priority comments, and exclusive members chat function. On there, on the website, there will be player ratings and instant analysis coming as soon as, well, the instant analysis will be instant, hopefully at full time. Fingers crossed Celtic are lifting up another trophy, and it's a tad delayed in that regard. That's your hope. Then you get player ratings, Q&As from the manager, and some of the players that talk to us in the mix zone. Thank you to everybody that's joined us so far. We really do appreciate it. We've got 260, 270 people on the stream already. We think that'll grow and grow as this stream progresses. Tony, where are the big talking points in this team? Do you think it's Paulo Bernardo in the midfield? He's been preferred ahead of Engels, but then again, is it much of a talking point? Bernardo probably deserves to be there on merit with his recent performances, and Engels, because of his recent performances, probably deserves to be where he is on the bench.
I think if you can visit Celtic supporters, that would be their starting 11 today, Ryan. Bernardo has earned it, and you've always got to remember that Bernardo has experience in his fixtures as well. Real experience in playing in a cup final against him. He conjured up the decisive moment back in May when Adam Ida scored. You know, it was Paulo Bernardo that came onto the park and made the forceful run and had the shot which Butland found too hard to handle. Ida profited from. So all sorts of things will be coming into the manager's mind. But I think Celtic supporters are delighted with that team. It's no slight on Arne Engels. Engels' time will come. It's just the manager's just favoured this team, and I think, as I say, most of the Celtic supporters would agree with that team, Ryan. It's a strong team. The only other big call would have been Alex Vai for Greg Taylor, but he tends to favour Greg Taylor on the big occasions, doesn't he? So I haven't a problem with that team. As I say, it's the starting 11 that you and I predicted, and were predicted 11s. So time to get it on and go and do it. And I'm buoyed by the fact that the last time Celtic were here, they turned up, Ryan. I'm looking for something similar today. Put Aberdeen to the sword when Aberdeen were coming with a slight conceit to themselves and thinking they could maybe do something. I think you've got a Rangers team. I'm not saying they've got a conceit themselves, but they're coming with a point to prove. And you just need to match them in every department. And I think the better teams usually win these games, Ryan. Celtic, player for player, are a better team. And it's just about proving that again today.
Absolutely. If Celtic know that if they turn up and play to the way that we know that they can play, then they're going to be very difficult to beat. They'll beat Rangers if that's the case, in my opinion. Just with the firepower as you spoke about there, they've got so much firepower all over the pitch. The main areas for me personally, but down that right hand side for Celtic, Nicholas Kuhn and Alistair Johnston. That's a great partnership. It's great to see that Alistair Johnston has passed the fitness test. I knew that he would. I had a funny feeling yesterday or the day before on Friday, saying that it looks as if he was going to be fit for the cup final. Even if he was half fit, I think he'd be playing this game. He might have taken an injection to get through this game. I'm not so sure, but I think we all knew that Alistair Johnson was going to play this game, and he's vital, isn't he? He's key. He sets the tempo for this team. He gives it defensively, but he also brings the team further forward as well. Him and Kuhn are going to be massive players today, you would hope.
Nicholas Kuhn for me.
He's got to do it against Rangers.
Yeah, he needs a breakout performance against Rangers, and he's going to be a key player. But I tell you what else is going to be key, and I'm going to lump them all together. It's your Japanese contingent. Every one of them's a match winner today, Ryan, and they have to perform. And if they turn up and play, and Nicholas Kuhn turns up and play, and Bernardo plays, and McGregor always reserves his best games for the Rangers, history shows that. I think Celtic will be hard to stop today. If all of that happens, there's no guarantee that it will, but if it does happen, then I think there's joy for Celtic in this match. If all those blocks fall into place, as they say, or they slot into place. But looking for a big performance from Kuhn. I'm looking for the Japanese contingent to really step up to the plate today, and Paulo Bernardo and Callum McGregor doing their thing. And I think Celtic will take some beating if that's the case, if it pans out that way, Ryan.
Yeah, so I don't normally do this for opposition teams, but I thought I'd read out the Rangers team as well, because I think it's worth talking about. It's Jack Butland, James Tavernier gets the start. I think that's a bit of a surprise. Some people were saying that maybe Sterling would play, but he's on the bench. Leon Balogun, Robin Propper, Yefte, Diamande, Raskin, Hadji, Bajrami, Cherny and Igaman. So it's a team. Philippe Clement's really going for it with that team today. I think Hadji in there, you're not going to get much defensively from him. That's got to be an opportunity for Celtic in the middle of the park. If they win that midfield battle and they put pressure on the likes of Tavernier and Jefty, then they'll have a chance today for sure.
Look at that back pairing as well, central defensive back pair, and John Shooter not making it is a real blow.
He's the best defender in my opinion.
Yes, of course he is. And so there's joy for Celtic to be had if you attack Propper and Balogun. Propper's had a difficult start to his Rangers career, and Balogun's just, aging, I think you would say, Ryan. So you have to get in and about then. You have to think that Celtic can get joy. And also, I think Jefte has shown that he can be a bit of a hothead at times, temperamental. The old joke, 50% temper and 50% mental. So you have to play on that if that's the case. And then on the other side, I just think the mood music going into that, the Rangers supporters will be sighing that Tavernier has been shaping up against Maeda again, because Maeda knows how to play him. He has the hex on him, and you're just asking Maeda to do the exact same again.
I think that's a real pressure point in this game, because I think, again, if Maeda has his way with Tavernier, the way that we've seen it, it's become a sideshow in this derby. You talk about Celtic Rangers, but you also talk about Daizen Maeda against James Tavernier. It's becoming a sideshow. And that matchup is going to be shown today again. So for me personally, I'm not one to talk about the Rangers managers' decisions, but I don't understand that, and I think that's an opportunity for Maeda. It's almost as if a reluctance to drop your captain. I know it's a cup final, but I think if Sterling was in there, I think Maeda would have a tougher test. We'll see how it goes, because Tavernier could all of a sudden go and have a great game against Maeda, but Maeda has got that mental willpower over him at the moment, and he knows all about him. So I think that's a big area today, and I think that's the real pressure point. That and Kuhn and Jefty, those are two areas in which I think Celtic can really benefit.
I've said before about Tavernier and Maeda, if ever two players defined an era or an era, whatever way you want to say it, at their respective clubs, it's that duo, isn't it? And Maeda has bossed Tavernier, and Tavernier's still waiting for his breakout game against Daizen Maeda, and I think it will have warmed Daizen Maeda's heart seeing that team sheet. Mm-hmm. He'll have got a lift from that, because he thinks he can get in and about him again. And as usually, conversely on the other side, Kuhn versus Jeff is going to be a real interesting one for me. I think if Nicholas Kuhn plays to his capability and potential, he can get some real joy there. And Kyogo buzzing about Propper and Balogun, ably supported by Hatate, Bernardo and Callum McGregor. And as you say, Alistair Johnson getting forward. There is joy for Celtic there. Again, out of adversity sometimes, people produce wonderful performances. You look at Ibrox last season when Liam Scales and his name escapes me at the minute, he partnered Liam Scales and Kyogo scored and Celtic won 1-0. Who was it? Liam Scales and
You've put me on the spot here. Liam Scales and Lagerbielke.
Lagerbielke, yeah. And they produced one of the games of the
And the
ages.
spot players aren't even there anymore.
Correct, and that's exactly why. Out of sight, out of mind. So these things can happen. Proper and Balogun might step up to the plate, but if I'm Celtic, I'm testing them very early on.
And Balogun gets sent off against Celtic because of that turn of pace that Kyogo had against them, and he brought him down. You've got to play on that. He's 36 years old. Proper is not going to get any quicker in his career either. So I think that's why Kyogo starts. But more importantly, I think that's why Adamida is on the bench to come on and make a sustained impact after 60 minutes or earlier or later if possible.
I'm looking at those two teams, Ryan, and I'm saying there's joy for Celtic to be had at the back of that Rangers pack. You have to play on that. The manager will have stressed that. You see that team sheet coming in and you're like, right, okay. Now, I get that it's going to be Greg Taylor's going to be occupied by Vaclav Černý, and I get Igimani is a bit of an unknown quantity for Celtic, so he has to be watched. But you trust the two central defenders that you have at your disposal at the minute, Trusty and Cameron Carter-Vickers, to be able to do a job on them. Granted, you're playing a Rangers team who carrying more attacking threat of late than they have past couple of seasons. So I think that's fair enough to say, isn't it?
Yep.
They will be a threat. You better believe it. But I definitely think that Celtic, if they go about their business in the correct and proper fashion, they can win this and probably win it comfortably today.
Yeah, if Celtic play well, I think that's the pretense that you've got to. Yeah, Celtic are the could be the orchestrators of their own downfall. We've seen that before. But there is a debutant today in the Glasgow derby. This is Austin Trusty's first Glasgow derby. He never came on the pitch in that 3-0 game. Earlier on, that was Luke McCowan and Arne Engels. He was an unused sub on that day. I think he made his debut right after that against Slovan Bratislava. So it's a big day for him. But in my opinion, over the past month or so, apart from that one mistake he made against Aberdeen, which his defensive partner this afternoon, Cameron Carter-Vickers, bailed him out of, I actually think, and this is not a hot take, but an opinion, I actually think he's been outperforming his partner at the moment in most games. And I think that's a credit and a testament to the way that he's playing and the way that he's acclimatised. It's a big day for him. I think he'll have a telling difference whether or not Celtic win or lose today. He's in that position, that centre-back position. I'm looking at set pieces, looking at corners, looking at free kicks. I'm looking at those defensive moments against Igimani, against Černý, against Hadji. He's got to stand up and be counted for today. But the past will tell you, the past will give you that evidence to show you that he has stepped up in every game thus far, and nothing will change today.
There's an argument to suggest that of the three defenders, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and he starts this season, is third in the way people have impressed, because Liam Scales has been very good. But I go back to it, that there is a defensive partnership all season, barring injury, because you feel comfortable. He offers you, the two of them together have been terrific. And Austin Trusty's come in and played a part in looking every inch a snip at 6 million now, to be fair, right? So, and you've no qualms about Cameron Carter-Vickers. He's maybe, the problem is because he maybe dropped from the high bar, the ridiculously high bar that he'd set in the past few seasons, it's more noticeable. And Liam Scales was playing very well too. But for me, they are the two best centre-backs at the club, right?
Agreed.
Right, so that's there's no disputing that. But I'm just saying there's an argument for people throwing Liam Scales into the mix and say he hadn't done much wrong and he's arguably performing better than Carter-Vickers. That's another opinion that people might have, Ryan, and it's not wrong. But I'm just saying when you look at those two, you think to yourself, that's a central defensive pairing for me that are solid, absolutely solid, and they're tried and trusted, and I go with them, every day of the week and twice on a Sunday.
Twice a Sunday, and today's Sunday, we'll take that. I think the last player that I want to talk about before we get into predictions, and everybody get your predictions in the comments. We'll try and bring up as many as we can while we talk about this next point. Bit of a mixed bag at Hampden for Reo Hatate. He's had some really good games at Hampden. He's also had games in which they've passed him by. I think about that game in 2022, Rangers coming off the back of that semi-final against RB Leipzig. Hatate looked as if he was a player that had played a season and a half of football. He looked really, really tired out in that pitch. We know that he can blow hot and cold, but when he's hot, he's really hot, and he can really dominate a game. What are you expecting from him today? You wanting them to get to those levels that we've seen him do? The likes that great finish against Aberdeen, those good individual performances at home. In the sort of middle of the season, about 5-6 games ago. You want to see him play at his best, because him at his best, he can dominate this fixture today. That's what we want to see.
Reo Hatate can dictate where this game goes today, where this cup ends up today. But again, I get back to it. We've seen the good and the bad the bad and the ugly of Reo Hatate recently, right?
The bad and the ugly go hand in hand sometimes with him.
Yeah, and when it's the bad and the ugly, he's better sitting where you and I are sitting, Ryan. Right, that's a fact.
That's true.
But you get kept on the park at Pittodrie for a reason and produced a wonderful goal. Technique, sublime, absolutely brilliant, and that's why he was there. And he can provide big moments, and he has done in the cup finals before. And he's played very well at Hampden, but other times it's passed him by. But I think he was trusted more. Him and Paulo Bernardo were trusted more than Engels for the game not to pass them by today. Mm-hmm. So he can't let the game pass him by today, and he can't let whatever happens, his first touch, because I think against Dynamo Zagreb, he let his first involvement in the game really affect him.
He's an emotional player, and this is where I think, and this is the point that I like to make again and again, and people will say that Hatate doesn't care or Hatate isn't interested in a game. I think it's the complete opposite. I think he cares too much about his first touch. If he has a bad first touch, he will let that affect him mentally for the rest of the game. For me, you're just wanting a good first touch, get it to your man, and start feeling yourself.
He's a heart in the sleeve player, right? And everybody knows now that he plays in that half turn, so they're going to try and shut that movement down, aren't they? So he has to find a way to combat that or find something different in his locker, because it's there in abundance. It's why he's in. It's why he's starting today. Because the managers went, consign that performance to the dustbin. New game, new challenge. There's a cup final to be won here. So, and I trust him to turn up today, Ryan. So I have no qualms about that.
Before I bring up the predictions, I just want to say a massive thank you to the over 1,000 of you that are in this stream. Absolutely incredible for a pre-match. We knew that there would be people wanting to talk about Celtic and Rangers before the game, and that's the case. At 1,012 we've got at the moment, and that keeps on continuing to rise. So if you're here and you want to know, and if you want to know when we'll next go live with a video, either pre-recorded or a live stream, then please hit that subscribe button. Join us after the game. We'll be live at some point after the game once we've done all the interviews with the manager and the players. Fingers crossed that's after another trophy win for Celtic. But please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. You'll get notified when we go live. Hit that notification button, and if you want to subscribe to us and join us, then please do so as well. I'll bring up some of these predictions. My goodness, Tony, we have got a lot of them. You ask and they give you, so thank you so much. 420 somewhere, somebody that's always in the comments, thank you so much. 2-0, he says. 2-1 to the tick, says Michael O'Farrell. Dyson's Da says 3-1. Paul Archibald says 3-1. 3-1 Celtic, them. Thomas Bunn says 1-0 Celtic. Duncan Mills, confident Celtic by 3 goals. Patricia Monroe says 2-1 to Celtic. They're all Celtic wins, but some different scorelines, which is what we like. We're a broad church after all. I'm going to use one of your sayings. We're a broad church here after all. Hazel Finn, always in the comments. Thank you so much. Going for 3-0. Schmeichel clean sheet. I thought Hazel was saying Schmeichel first goal scorer. If that's the case, then I don't know what he's doing up there. Either that or he scored a long ranger. I don't want to say a long ranger today, obviously. Caroline Grant says Celtic 3-1. Hatate, Maeda, and Kyogo. So a Japanese trio, a Japanese treble. Wouldn't mind that. Don't care who scores today. Own goals, whatever goals, defenders scoring, as long as Celtic are on the other end. Tony, what's your prediction for the game? How do you see this one going? And what is your score prediction as well?
When I did my predicted 11s, I said Celtic would win by the odd goal in 3, so that means 2-1. But having looked at the lineups, it wouldn't surprise me if Celtic won 3-1. But I initially said 2-1, but if we win 3-1, then that wouldn't surprise me.
He stole my scoreline. It's usually me doing that to you, to be fair. I'm going to go with... I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1. I was tempted ever so slightly with a 4-1 there, but you need to realise this is Hampden, this is Rangers, it's the Glasgow derby. Those don't happen all the time, even though they were happening quite a lot in recent history.
And that wouldn't surprise you, would it?
Nothing would surprise me today, Tony, if I'm being honest with you.
And I think you're basing it off those lineups first and foremost. So, you know, I 2-1 or 3-1 to Celtic. You're thinking maybe 3-1 or 4-1, and that's not. It's not arrogance, you know. It's just you're basing it on the actual teams that are lining up in front of you. So we will reconvene at 5:15 or then about.
That's an important one from me from Plunge Nugget. I do want an Aberdeen semi-final.
Capable of that, Ryan. That's the bottom line. And if they bring that to the table, then that's why you're saying it could be that scoreline. So again, it's caveated by they have to turn up. That has to happen, and that's the way they have to play.
The good thing is, more often than not, this season Celtic have turned up when the big occasion comes around. I just hope that maybe that sort of subpar performance in Zagreb was because of this game coming up, and because they had inadvertently they had one eye on the League Cup final. That happens. They're human after all. They're not robots, and that will happen. League Cup final against Rangers. I'm going for 3-1. You're going for 3-1. I think it's basically win at all costs, but by whatever means necessary, just as long as they're lifting that trophy at the end. But just a quick one. Extra time and potentially penalties. Could you see that being a factor today, Tony? Just the way that these games go, sometimes Celtic went all the way to penalties against Aberdeen in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup last season. Do you see that being a factor potentially? I know you've said 3-1, but could you see that happening or envisage that happening?
It's possible, but I think Celtic will get the job done. I think they've got an unerring ability and knack of turning up when it really matters. The manager has them well drilled and well prepared, and they're adept at it. So you're just asking them to same again. And speaking of the manager, if he is successful today, Ryan, that would be his 10th trophy as Celtic manager. So there's different subplots and characteristics surrounding this game. That'd be a lovely milestone for Brendan Rodgers to achieve. So he's hoping that he can do that.
So it'll be a lovely milestone. It'd be the trophy that Celtic didn't get last season. It'd also be a ground in which Rodgers has never lost at as a Celtic manager. That's a touch wood, of course. But we can talk about all of this pre-game, post-game. We can dissect it all. And we will be live post-game. Don't know when that'll be because, it's going to be a busy afternoon / evening. We wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you to everybody that's joined us. Nearly 1,100 people. That is incredible numbers for a pre-match. Hopefully we can have even half that amount for the post-match, then that would be absolutely incredible, guys. Thank you so much. Press that subscribe button if you haven't done so already and support us just that little bit more. Check out the website for instant analysis, player ratings, Q&As from the manager and the players whenever they can be available and they'll go live. Until then, guys, enjoy the cup final. Fingers crossed for a Celtic victory, and we will see you all as soon as we can after the game. Cheers, guys, and have a very good afternoon.